Everybody has to pay taxes. Even businessmen that rob and steal and cheat from people every day. Even they have to pay taxes.
Taxes! The finger thing means the taxes!
6:54. It's Bill and Pete. It's Wake Up Kenosha. As I mentioned before the break, you have trouble with the tax man, the revenue service. You've been avoiding those letters, those notices, emails. Are they piling up on your credenza? I know a guy who can clean up your credenza. He works for, well, he is Francetic Tax Resolution. He is Paul Francetic, the host of Don't Get Frantic. Paul, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to have you back on the program. Oh, let's on Trick or Treat Day, the IRS really is more trick than treat most of the time. And sometimes you get a little behind in stuff. And that's when you call Paul and you think, well, maybe I can negotiate a deal. Is that possible, Paul? Let's say I'm in a situation where I owe a ton of dough to the state or to some other entity. Is it cut and dried? Is there some wiggle room? Are they willing to work with me on this deal?
Yeah. Both the IRS and state, they're going to work with you on something like this. Depending on what your assets are. The specific with the state now, I'm working on a big case with a client that hasn't filed tax returns for several years. So like I've talked about in the past, the state interest rate is 18%, and they have significant penalties on top of the tax when they calculate this back taxes. But in certain situations now, like I said, he's going to be able to pay. He's going to be getting an insurance settlement. So once I get all these tax returns filed, I can call the state on the telephone. I don't have to submit any financial documents, and I can say, they're going to write a check out. What can we do? So what they're typically going to do in this, they're going to lower the interest rate from 18% down to 12% on the outstanding tax debt. They'll waive 100% of the penalties, but you got to be able to write that check out within about 30 days. You can't go into an installment agreement. You can't say, can I pay in 3 months, over 3 months? It's got to be a one-time check to the state, and it can be a pretty good deal because, in the situation I'm working on right now, it's probably going to save the client probably $30,000 plus in penalties and reduction in interest. So, like I said, you got to be able to write the check out at that time. Like I said, of course, if you don't have the money, we can go the offer and compromise amount, try to get that amount lowered, even the tax lower, but that can take quite a bit of time. There's a ton of financial stuff that's got to be submitted to the state. So this is one of the, I blast the state all the time, but this is one of the good deals with the state is, you can tax returns for like 6+ years.
Yeah, can we back up? And you don't have to get into too many details on this, but how do you get yourself? I can't imagine getting into a situation where I haven't paid or filed a return for 6 years. But I guess you being Paul Francetic, you probably run into that situation all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like this, this big case I think I talked about a little bit last week. The husband and wife were in business. The husband, running the business. He was trusting the wife to file the payroll tax returns, the sales tax returns, the income tax returns. She filed some payroll tax and sales tax returns and a couple of personal returns, but a zero corporate return since 2012. And then, she was in an accident, passed away tragically, unexpectedly. And then the husband has just kind of got blindsided by this. Once now the estate, you've got to, they want all these tax returns filed to see, how much there's going to be an outstanding balance. And he's just beside himself. He just couldn't believe there was this big a mess like this. So
yeah,
it's just an unfortunate, sight. But like I said, I see it all the time. It just, for whatever reason, people, especially in business, they just, for whatever reason, they don't think they have to file business returns when you start a business. I guess it's just kind of mind-boggling when you think about it.
Do you run into situations where people, obviously that situation you referred to there was an unfortunate situation, but do you run into clients where it just said, you know what, screw the IRS, I'm not paying, and then it backs up on them?
Yeah, I know those. There's like those tax dodgers out there saying, no, they use these crazy things where we're not required to pay taxes, blah blah blah. But it just when I talk to these people, you just, they admit, they says, man, I screwed up. I mean, I don't know what I was doing, right? It just, until they get those letters or until they start, get a wage garnishment or a bank levy, then it that's the kind of the eye opener. Says, got to get in front of this now. Got to get, and that's kind of the kick in the rear end that gets the people saying, hey, I got to get this fixed now. It's unfortunate I was, missed to let this get out of hand like this, but it is what it is, I guess. You got to deal with it at that time then.
So they'll cut you a break if, you can get the cash together and, you can take advantage of their generosity. Now, if those letters are piling up on your credenza, I got the credenza cleaner right here, Paul Francetic. Paul, how do they get a hold of you?
My website, 262tax.com. My phone number's on there. I've got a contact page. You can send me an email, and I can hopefully get back to you within 24 hours.
He's a busy man, but he will do it. Paul Francetic, Francetic Tax Resolution. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic week, sir.